Right, hello folks, good morning. I've just sat down with my coffee. It's about 10 o'clock on a Friday morning. I have been flat out. I've been very, very busy. Thought I just saw a wet patch in the shed, it's fine. And it feels like it's been ages since I did a video. It's definitely been ages since I did anything at the allotment. Today, there's a bit of storm damage to show you, which is not good, not great, but it'll be fine. Don't worry too much. And there's a very exciting delivery. That's the main reason I'm here, to be honest. But first, before I get into the good stuff, I'm going to put the job off for a little while, just sit down and enjoy my coffee. We'll have a little catch up. Skip ahead to this time if you want to just see me get started on the garden updates. But yes, where have I been? I've not been at the allotment. Is there any drama? Not really. Last weekend we were away. All weekend we were up in Lancaster, proper up north. Like up north. We were up there for a friend's wedding. Absolutely gorgeous, but my goodness, the journey. One of those nightmare journeys. We went up on Friday and it took us 8 hours to get up there. It should be about a 5-hour drive. Just horrific. But yeah, we stayed up there for a few days. Really, really nice, but obviously no time at the weekend. Basically, it's that time of year where I've become a weekend gardener. The only time I can get up here is on the weekend. Work has become really busy as well. So, even if I could come up, oh goodness me, it's like dark at 3:30, so I'm finishing work at like 6. Really long days at the moment. And even if I was finishing work at 3, there still wouldn't be enough time to come up here. So we've got it's like another month until the days start getting longer, and I can't wait, to be honest with you. But Friday morning, I've nabbed a little bit of time off work because I've had to come up, put it in my calendar nice and early for this delivery. Let me finish my coffee. Oh yeah, that is the stuff. I just finished making my coffee this morning when I got a phone call saying the delivery was here. They said it's so frustrating getting stuff delivered to allotments. They always say, we'll give you a ring half an hour before, let you know we're on the way. They never do. There's so many bad experiences trying to get stuff delivered to allotments because you have to be here to unlock the gate and guide them in and out. I came on a very big lorry. I'll show you what we got in a bit. But what I love about this time of year is, yes, it's dark. There's no time to allotment. But one of the reasons I don't do much growing over this time of year is because it's so difficult to get to the plot. If I could come down at lunchtime every day for a few hours, it would be much easier to keep stuff ticking over, keep on top of things, but I just become a bit of a weekend gardener, basically. Focus on the slightly larger projects, or not necessarily the larger projects, but all the little fiddly stuff you got to do on the weekend, like sealing the windows and fiddling around with slabs like I was doing a few weekends ago. But at the same time, if you can't get up here, it's not the end of the world. Nothing's going to die. It's not like spring and summer. So I've just sort of been trying to chill out a little bit, come up when I can on the weekends where I'm feeling up to it and I've got the energy. It's fine. Nothing's going to happen at the allotment without you here. Well, unless you get a massive storm. Let's have a look. So since I was last at the allotment, we've had a lot of pretty hard frosts and Storm Bert. And Storm Bert it was pretty horrific. We were actually driving through some of it at around 3 a.m. Not recommended. I do not recommend that, but yes, the main casualty. Oh dear. This is a sight that it really fills a gardener with dread. When you first see that on the floor, smashed glass from your greenhouse, not good. I didn't quite gasp, but my heart did skip a beat. Thankfully, it's just a very small piece on a bit of glass that I knew was broken and that I knew needed fixing, but it is frustrating because now this thing is compromised, and if we get any more high wind, very bad news. Very, very, very bad news. It is this piece just in here, and this unfortunately cracked very shortly after I installed it, and it's been, I've been kind of waiting for this to go, so not too dramatic. You can see the chilies, look. There's still some green growth. I was actually expecting these to all be completely dead and gone, and there is a lot of dieback in there, but it is surprising sometimes how much frost protection the greenhouse can offer. But yes, the problem is now that if wind is whipping through here, it's gonna create a lot of positive pressure, I think that's the term, isn't it, on the inside of the greenhouse, and it's going to want to push glass out, and there'll be a bit of glass somewhere that will want to go, and it just gets worse and worse the more gappy your greenhouse gets. So unfortunately this now becomes priority number one. Now somewhere I do have some glass Should I... I might have a replacement for this. This isn't too bad a shatter. The worst thing about horticultural glass is... Well, actually, no, it's this toughened glass, isn't it, that shatters into a billion pieces. Horticultural glass does shatter into shards, though. And there's a few little tiny pieces. Yes, I could use a tape measure, but I've lost it. I'm just going to offer it up. Oh, hello. Hello. Look at that. Okay, right, let's put this down nice and safe. That is unbelievably good luck. I've put that aside, I'll do that in a moment. I'll continue the whip round first. One other thing, it's not that bad, but in here, what's this? The Spigarello has done a brassica special, where it's now just laying on the floor and growing upright again. That's fine. These did not survive the storm very well. I've had to put these back on this morning, but they just popped off and slid back on. The blue piping came off. That's why all of this is a bit loose. I'll get in there and tighten that up in a moment. You can see it was weighed down with pretty heavy, gnarly old wood, proper heavy because it's wet and rotting, and it's just pulled that right off. This bed, you can't see there, can you? But this bed is, I can't really tell what's going on in there, to be honest. What is going on? So the squash has completely died back. It looks like we've got 4 purple sprouting broccoli plants in here, which is far too many in too small a space, but these two are doing pretty nicely. We've got a Brussels sprout down here, look at that. Wow, we're gonna have so many sprouts for Christmas. It is actually trying. Can you see those on the stem? There are a few miniature sprouts forming, but obviously I am being sarcastic. That is a pretty pathetic looking plant, but there is one sprout plant over here. Not looking too bad actually. Not much forming on there, and that's a pretty small stem, which I feel like doesn't bode well. It's probably going to get very little sun because of all the large neighbours. There's actually a 5th purple sprouting broccoli down there that's fallen over. My point is, this bed is pretty chaotic, not very neat, but I can't blame storm damage for that, that's just me. Never mind. This netting does look like it might fly off at any point. The rest of the plot, though, isn't actually too bad. All the beds have remained unmolested, looking relatively tidy, not too many weeds coming through. We've got a couple of full water butts, that one and that one are actually connected, which is fantastic. The others still need a little bit of work, but one day, look, clean beds. Hop bin, pretty high on the priority list now. We were talking about that on Potty Mouth recently. Let's have a little look, shall we? I haven't opened this in a while. We've got 15-degree reading on the top. Oh, and that has reduced down a lot. It basically got to the point where I stopped filling this because it was so completely full. The cardboard has lost a layer there, and this weed matting has been blown around a bit, but this sort of thing is to be expected in a storm. That's fine. I'm not too worried about that. I'll sort that out properly another time. Polytunnel, thankfully fine. I was a little bit anxious. This thing, the wind kind of hits the side. This is the prevailing wind, but super strong. These things are built for it. Really, really strong first tunnels. Polytunnel, not fazed by it at all. There are a few bits and bobs around here that have been blown around, and a little bit of the netting and stuff has got caught on places, but generally, oh look, the tarps come off the manure. This is actually really important because without this manure is going to become waterlogged and really gross and stinky. It's something to... Ow, okay. Oh, the brick just fell off that and smacked right into the corner of my knee. And it's like a hit on your funny bone. Oh. Okay, knee recovered. Not great, not perfect, but it'll do for now. This is like my wheelbarrow graveyard. That one is actually mine. This one is my fault. This is terrible, but that one I did find on someone else's abandoned plot, and I've been using that temporarily for a little while, but probably needs to go in the skip. But yes, the structures, I was a little bit worried about this bean netting. Probably best practice not to leave this out all winter, but it's fine. It's fine. The leeks, looking pretty healthy, still growing nicely after the frost, and the spring onions, not so much. But there is a red salad bowl lettuce. Look, and the ground is looking a little weedy in here, but in the others, not too bad at all. Let's have a look at the parsnips. That's one thing I did want to look at today. These have been pathetic. This cosmos has not helped things. I think time for you to come out, please. Now, look at this. Like, I think I've showed these once or twice, but I've not done many clips of the parsnips because, well, look at them. They had a really nice germination, and I've just left them to their own devices. Tony in the Potty Mouth the other week was saying, well, you never know, they might be quite good underground. But I don't think it's seen quite how pathetic these are. They've not even escaped the side of the bed. I think they've had quite a lot of frost damage, which is surprising. Although maybe not that surprising, given that these are not the healthiest looking specimens. Normally you wait until after your first frost to harvest these. Let me get a digger. I have a real issue at the moment with none of the tools being where they're meant to be because everything's in flux. But we'll get there. My point is, I've just got this dibber, not a digger. Oh my goodness, hang on a minute. Look at that. It's tough to get, but I don't want to get my hopes up. Okay. You know what though, if that hadn't forked, that wouldn't be a bad, modestly sized parsnip. So there might be more. Might get those a little bit later. I don't want to actually take a load of parsnips home today because we're here for a different job, which I will get to in a moment. But first, I just wanted to show you in the polytunnel, Christmas potatoes. That's actually not a bad amount of growth, but they are looking wilty. They definitely need a water. All the pepper kind of vegetation is dying back quite nicely in here, but look at these. I was saying, you know, I don't grow anything, but there's something about seeing nice, healthy green growth this time of year that is kind of wonderful. So I'm very glad I've just got a little bit of, I think this is Valmain. It's sort of like a cut and come again. So I might take a little harvest of those soon and some parsley in the back. It's surprising, actually. A lot of these peppers looking okay. They have avoided the frost, actually. Look at this. This is the chili chump jigsaw. Really blew my face off the other day. Looking surprisingly okay. All of the autopot chili still going okay as well. This is the champion that got stripped by the mouse. Whoops. And a big thank you for all the nice comments about my sweet potato harvest. Very reassuring, actually. Let me know that it wasn't too bad a harvest. I'm going to keep this one. Hopefully, we might be able to use this for some slips. There's a few of the smaller ones back here as well. Probably not going to find a use for those, but I'll put them somewhere and we'll see if come spring they've still got enough life in to make us some slips for next year. I have never actually tried Christmas spuds. I don't think so anyway. Maybe it's actually, I say that, it's very possible I have tried this and it's become a miserable failure and then I've just blocked it out of my memory. Give these a proper soak. I'll be okay for a while. I'm not expecting much from this, but it will be nice if we can get anything. Now the big job. Okay, I've put it off long enough, haven't I? Now last week's Potty Mouth, we spent quite a lot of time talking about my soil structure. I've spent plenty of time on the channel talking about it across this year because in spring I had a really major issue, just the soil turning to concrete. It's not because of a dryness issue either. There were a few times where I gave it a proper good watering, but I just could not break that surface. It fully turned into just this layer of almost impenetrable concrete, and it really got me down. Like, it just became so much effort, time and effort, trying to plant out one little tray of seedlings, you know, one tray of beans or salad or something. I would just look at and just be like, oh, you know, it just filled me with dread because it would take a stupidly long time to break the soil and just plant stuff out, you know. I couldn't dip it in, working stuff with the trowel. It just took so long, okay? You know, I'm sure you understand what that is like. You can just imagine. Planting out a tray of seedlings should take 5 minutes, you know? It should be a quick little job, just dip a little hole in the soil, plop them in. And it was not like that, let me tell you. So I've dedicated a lot of time this winter already to mulching with manure, trying to get a really nice amount of organic matter into the clay soil because I think that will really help. But my friend over at Grown Local, Ian, who runs the company, you hear about him quite a lot on here just because of the seed store and that kind of thing, but he's a really knowledgeable gardener as well. He does a lot of researching and that kind of thing, and he has recommended mushroom compost. And not only has he recommended mushroom compost, he has organised me a delivery. This is very kindly sent to me this morning by Grown Local. 2 bags. One is mushroom compost and the other is topsoil compost mix. Maybe this one is the mushroom compost, I can't actually tell. This one looks a little drier, a little sandier, so I think this is the topsoil compost mix, and this will be fantastic to hopefully fill some of the raised beds with. This will be a really nice growing medium. Straight off the bat, some of the best results I've had actually were when we had a topsoil compost mix in a raised bed in the back garden. And looking at it, this one looks much darker, much richer. I think this is probably the one that has been used for compost. Now, one of the things for mushrooms. Now, one of the things about mushroom compost, it tends to be pretty calcareous. They add a lot of lime to the medium, and that is meant to be really good for breaking up clay soil, basically, preventing the clay soil particles from sticking together and becoming like concrete. They call it flocculation. That's the fancy term, I think. Just amazing. What a fantastic, fantastic gift. The reason I've been putting it off though is because these are 2 massive ton bags and I've got to get them shifted. I'm not too sure where to put them yet either. I think what I might do, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I've just come back to the shed to have a little look around, and I do have a few dumpy bags of my own kicking around. So I think what I might do, this little storage area by the compost bays will be perfect. I'm going to set the dumpy bags up here, wheelbarrow individual barrow loads up to the car park. It's not too far, you can see someone's parked just up there. It's about 4 plots down. Fill up the wheelbarrow, bring the wheelbarrow back, fill up a dumpy bag here, and that should be a nice little location for it until it's time to kind of mulch the beds with them and fill up some raised beds and actually use the stuff. These fences are still kind of temporary, but despite Storm Bear, these blocks have held it up, so I'm going to just leave these here for now. Seems to do the job. Oh, this is a proper slab, this one. I want to use this somewhere. Dumpy bag number 1. These are always handy, you can't have too many. And dumpy bag number 2. This one has a lot less structural integrity actually, maybe I won't use that one. Now I thought I had a few more kicking around than that, so what I'm going to do, fill this one up, then hopefully I'll have an empty bag, then I'll bring that empty bag over here, and then move the other one into the empty bag. You'll see what I mean. Ooh, mamma mia, this is some heavy work. Now, I've come slightly underprepared, so I'm definitely going to need to pop off and get a drink, and it's going to be a late night working to make up for this, I think, but we'll get there. The issue I have is that the builder's bag is basically full now already, and I've only done, I don't know, maybe 30-40% of this first bag. These are some big bags. I didn't realise these are next level bags, they're super high up. So I think what I'm gonna do actually is just start putting this stuff on the raised beds, the high raised beds that I've got, where the objective is, you know, the soil texture isn't too bad in there, but I just wanna build up the material. But I do wanna keep a lot of this because I've got new beds to build. I wanna sort of restructure, and this is what I'm gonna use to fill those up. And then the mushroom compost, the really nice rich stuff, that will be a bit more of, not a mulch. One of the things about that is that you have to, if you want the flocculation, if you want the good science to happen, you've got to fork it in a little bit, you know, get it mixed in with that clay. I think if you just leave it as a mulch on top, it won't be quite as effective. And you know, I'm kind of out of time already, so I won't be doing any of that today. But this topsoil, slightly lighter mix than the clay, I think will be perfect just to put on those raised beds that I've got at the back of the plot. And depending how this season goes, it might be a case of, these big bags they do get compressed in here as they move around and as they're transported, so you end up sort of having to break it up quite a lot, scoop it into the middle, and then you've got some nice light friable stuff that you can actually get into the barrow. Now, depending how this season goes, how the soil texture is this season, we won't know until kind of spring and the proper growing season starts again, what it's like planting into it. But if it's still not great, then I think the plan will be to build up, just build up. I've got some little sort of borders that I've put in on the first plot. They're not quite raised beds, and I think I'll be replacing those with some super like scaffolding boards again, get some height so I can really build that material up. And then you're just growing in the nice light stuff, because the plants themselves, I think, it's tough to say, but I don't think they mind the texture that much. You know, clay is mixed blessings. It can be really difficult to work, but it's fantastic for water retention and nutrients. And if you've got a strong plant, it's fine. But if we've got a raised bed that's just got nice, light, fluffy stuff on top that we can plant into, then that's the win, you know, because then plants will get off to a good start. And when their roots hit the clay, it should be fine. So we'll see how this season goes and whether or not we've got to spend a bit more dough on some hefty scaffolding boards to build that material up. But for now, this stuff can just go on the the scaffolding boards that we've already worked on. So this is a good example of one of the raised beds that I'm talking about at the back of the plot. You can see quite a lot of green grass growing in here, which is not great. I'll go through here and give this a super quick weed instead of just burying it. But this was a no-dig bed that I started a good few years ago. And since I started it, this thing must have had, at least 6 to 8 bags of manure. And the bags that I buy are 80 litres, so you can do the maths on that. That's a lot of compost. And you can see at the back there, the level is not much higher than the bottom of the boards, really. There's still a lot of building up and a lot of space that we've got in here. And that's sort of, I think, one of the main differences between manure, 100% organic matter that you're going to be putting on your beds, versus something like topsoil, which, as the name suggests, is more soil. Basically, if you put manure on, it sinks dramatically, like so much more than I ever expect. It just kind of disappears over the course of the season, which is good. That's what you want. You want it to be breaking down and all that goodness to be going into the soil underneath. But if we're talking about making life a bit easier, making the beds easier to plant into, easier to access your beds, then actually topsoil is probably a much better choice because it's going to kind of hold its shape, basically. If you put a load of topsoil in a bed, it's not going to sink and depress half as much as something like organic matter. So let's get in here. Just a bit of light weeding and we should be good. This wheelbarrow that I got recently, what a purchase. Good timing on it too. It will never not be surprising how quickly you can use up a load of material. It looks like an awful lot when it's in a bag, and it feels like an awful lot when you're digging it and moving it around, but as soon as you spread it out on that soil, where does it all go? Just disappears. Be very interesting to see what the weed growth is like on this, what the kind of quality of the topsoil is like. But there we go. I'm going to do a few more of these, show you how everything's looking. So this asparagus bed, thankfully with asparagus, first year, you just stick it in and let it do its thing, get established, and it's all growing quite well, quite healthy. Hopefully next year it will continue to look nice. Grass and chicken wire, not best friends, or maybe too friendly, I guess. Not much weed pressure in here, just a bit of couch grass coming through. No dig and couch grass. It's sort of, you're still going to have to be pulling it out for a little while. It's had some really heavy cardboard and then just loads and loads of manure. Brand new bed for the asparagus. Look at that. Oh, I have just remembered though, this one doesn't have supports for the bed frame actually. So this might start to bow a little. Oh, lovely. Look at that. Pretty as a picture. One of the things that has definitely slowed me down, wet foot. One of the things that has definitely slowed me down today is not realizing quite how big the bags were and the fact that the bags I had were not going to be big enough. So a lot more manual ferrying to and fro, but oh no, there's a hole. Yeah, I've just dragged the remnants of this bag all the way to the plot, empty it into here, and now we've got one, look at the size of this. We've got one massive bag to then fill up near where I originally showed you, near the compost bays. And you can see we've got this one nice, filled up with compost and topsoil over here. And we'll get this one filled up with the mushroom compost. Bit of a mission moving all this. It's about 2 o'clock already. I'm only just halfway. I did phone up work and say, gonna be a bit late. Oh, it's fine. I'll just be working late, but we've got to get a move because I can't leave it all in the car park in case someone nicks it. Now, the topsoil looked pretty nice, but this stuff, it looks really good. It is quite wet, but still very nice and light, easy to work. It's got that gorgeous humusy compost smell. Really nice and sweet. There's a few little white bits that might look a little bit like plastic, but that's just mycelium. It's all the mushroom remnants. It's really interesting to see. I've heard people talk about, spent mushroom compost for many, many years, and I've never had my hands on it. I've got a good feeling about this, so it looks really, really nice, and I can't wait to get it on the beds. The idea is definitely to get this on and let it break down a bit over winter. I don't think you'd want to use this in pots or have plants growing straight in it, but hopefully it's going to get that soil texture. Really, really nice. A massive thank you again to Growing Local. I guess it's fair to say this video is basically sponsored by Growing Local. It's time to start thinking about your seeds for next year, so do go and check out his website. The thing I love about growing local is that he tries to sell his seeds for as reasonable a price as possible, and they're really, really budget friendly, as well as having some fantastic, interesting varieties. You know, he's introduced me to a lot of things I never would have tried before. The Black Moon tomato is, of course, the star of the show. That one I really do attribute to Ian from Growing Local. So massive, massive thank you. Let's get the rest of this shifted, shall we? Where's my spade? Where have I put my spade, folks? At the start, it's easy enough to barrow these in, but as it gets higher and higher, it will get more difficult. Oh, nearly. It's not the most efficient. You know, the most efficient thing to do would be obviously to get this delivered straight to your growing area and tipped on. Failing that, it would be to take it from the wheelbarrow and put it straight on your beds, but this was not very planned. It was a bit of a last-minute delivery, so we're doing this for now, and it will eventually make its way onto the beds when they've all been restructured and rebuilt and I've got a bit more time to fork them in properly. You know when people say allotments are a good bargain because the rent is cheaper than a gym membership? This is the kind of job they're talking about. Compost, heavy, but just that little bit nicer to work with than topsoil, I think. A little lighter, fluffier. Be nice if this was drier. Certainly easier to work then, but I'm not complaining. No. Oh, look at that. Yes. Oh, that's a good feeling. I think I've just spread the mushroom compost over all these beds and forgot to press record. What an amateur. Well, you know, just imagine me doing this, but across all the beds, and they look so, so good. You missed me having a little boogie as well with the music. Boogie? How old am I? Oh, dear me. Oh, that looks so good. It's just the best. I mean, these already looked pretty good with the horse manure mulch, but oh, this stuff looks so good. That is a really nice deep layer as well, but it does need to be kind of forked in, mixed in. So we're losing a bit of no dig with this stuff, but hopefully worth it. Yes. Come on. Right, that will do for now. Where's the tool? I have a very specific set of greenhouse pliers that I use for these. Where are they? Some greenhouse clips are like butter, you know, they're so soft and so easy to move, and some are like steel. Oh, you really need leverage. I can't believe they're not in here. I can't believe they're not in here. Ah, they're here. Yes, yes. Okay. Oh, no, it doesn't want to slide out. No, okay, this feels sketchy. You know what, I'll just cut until this is done. I'll spare your nerves. There we go, magic. Last bit of glass, I stored it very safely in the shed, so it wasn't going to fall over. Now I like to do the patented greenhouse clips in the mouth. Oh no. Oh, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. I thought it was too good to be true. You know, it's never that easy. It's never that easy, is it? I've got one more, which is worth a try. I think this is too small. Oh, it's the right width. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It fits. Don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it. Oh, it's pinched me. It's pinched me. My glove is caught. My glove is caught. There we go. Oh my goodness. Okay, I take it back. I said it's never that easy. I wasn't expecting it to fit, so I'm not very prepared. Now, am I going to be able to hold this in and get a clip? Should have put them in my pocket. Oh, I got one. There were two that were just within reach. Go on, get in. Oh, I could have cleaned this first. That would have been a good idea, wouldn't it? I saw it fit and I panicked. I said, get in, quick. That's the wrong way around. You would think after putting two greenhouses together, I would remember how these worked. Yes. Look at that, we fixed it. Instant fix, literal 2 tons of compost and topsoil moved today. I do need to do some grovelling at work and apologising, but I'll make up the time. We are flexible working and that is what it's all about. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. An extra special thank you to all of my Chili Pepper Tier patrons and of course Growing Local for sending that brilliant topsoil and mushroom compost. Tony, Bill, Pam, Mel, Michael, Socks, Dorcasaur, Louise, Andre and Brett. Hopefully I'll see you all again next time. What a result, what a day. Success.